Hello guys and welcome back to another video on OpenFront IO. Today is a special video. As some of you might have seen, there's been some major drama in the OpenFront community and it could change the future of the game completely. If you don't know OpenFront, it's the strategy game where you expand, fight, conquer territory on basically a pixel-based map. And it started as a small indie project, and over the time it's built up a pretty dedicated community. And even then, I'm going to come back to this specific point. You've probably seen it around YouTube, or maybe you've played it yourself, of course. But just a few days ago, or yesterday, I believe, as I'm recording this video on the 29th of September, the creator of OpenFront, Evan, made a post saying that another company has basically stolen his game, rebranding it under a new name called FrontWars. According to him, this company is claiming they made it themselves, and now there's this huge debate online about whether that's true, whether it's legal, and honestly, whether OpenFront has a future. And here's the kicker. OpenFront itself actually started as a fork of another game, warfront.io. So that raises a really interesting question. Is Evan right to say someone stole his work when his own project was originally built on someone else's? Today, I'm going to break this all down, the history of OpenFront, what's going on with FrontWars, the community's reaction, and the bigger conversation about open source games, ownership, and cloning. And of course, I'll give you my own take at the end. Now, before I get into it, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a professional in copyright or game development, and I don't have all the insider information. Everything I'm sharing is based on public posts, Reddit discussions, and what the community is saying. So don't take this as a legal fact. Think of it as a commentary. And if anyone watching has more details, corrections, or extra context, please feel free to drop it in the comments so everyone can stay updated. So while I'm talking here, you'll see I'm playing a match of OpenFront in the background. I figured it makes sense to show the actual game we're talking about instead of just me ranting over a blank screen. If you've never played OpenFront before, here's a quick rundown. It's a free browser-based strategy game where you start as a small territory on this pixel map. And from there, the goal is to expand your borders, manage your resources, try to outsmart the other players on the map. Every move counts because, if you overextend or make a big mistake, another player can swoop in and wipe you out. And it's got, of course, an addictive balance of simple mechanics, but deep strategy. That's why I've been making videos over 6 months now. And you don't need to download anything. You don't need to spend money. You just jump in. I mean, unless you want to buy some patterns, as we call skins. But you just got to play, and every game feels a little different depending on your spawn and on your neighbors. Over time, the game's built up a small but very loyal community. People pose their strategies, the clips, even entire tournaments get organized around it. Honestly, it's pretty impressive for a game that started as an open source project. And personally, I've spent a lot of hours on it myself, enough to make the videos, to compete with other players, really get into the whole scene of OpenFront. That's why this new drama is such a big deal. For a lot of us, OpenFront isn't just some random little game. It's something, we've invested time in, we've built communities around it, and it's got a history that deserves to be respected, of course. Alright, so let's get into the heart of the drama. What exactly happened with FrontWars? A few days ago, Evan, the creator of OpenFront, made a post on Reddit as well as a YouTube video and a Discord announcement on the official OpenFront server, claiming that a company called 3am Experiences, led by the YouTuber Mystic, also owner of Deep.io, had basically stolen his game and rebranded it as FrontWars. According to him, they were presenting it as their own creation, and that felt like a direct attack on the work he and the community had put into OpenFront. But when you dig deeper, things get way more complicated. For one, some people in the community immediately pointed out the irony. OpenFront itself is a fork of warfront.io, meaning Evan's project was already built on top of someone else's code base. And that's the whole point of open source. Anyone can fork the code and make their own version as long as they respect the license. And one of the contributors to OpenFront actually said this directly on Reddit. Let me show you the comment. As one of those 120 plus contributors to your game, I'm happy someone forked it. Maybe they'll improve on it and add a fun new spin. That's what open source and AGPL MIT is all about. Then he goes on, you fork the game yourself and you're trying to modernize. Of course, everybody has their own opinion. So already we can see both sides of the argument. Evan feels his project has been taken away from him, but others are saying, isn't this just what open source allows? And then there's also the response from people behind FrontWars. One of the developers, well, not quite the developers, but a friend of the main developer, Mystic, so the YouTuber that was mentioned by Evan, actually spoke out and clarified some things. And he doesn't need to clarify. This is internal matters. We're just trying to get the actual analysis. He says also that 3am doesn't own FrontWars, and the game was in fact made by his friend Phoenix, who asked for assistance with promotions. And in return, apparently Mystic does have a percentage of the game. So his friend is doing all the dev work for free, and he's just helping out with the promo. So according to him, this isn't some shady company stealing code and cashing out. It's a friend project where one person codes, codes and the other helps the promotion in exchange for a cut. So at this point, you can probably see why the community is divided. You got one side, you've got Evan saying his game was stolen. On the other, you've got contributors pointing out that the OpenFront itself was forked. And then you've got the FrontWars devs that are saying it's not theft at all. It's just, a new fork with different people behind it. So that raises the big question. Where do you draw the line between a fork and a theft? Is it about giving credit? Is it about monetizing something that other people made for free? Or is it about who the community chooses to support? And here's the thing. If you actually look at FrontWars and OpenFront side by side, so here we're on OpenFront and here on FrontWars, you're going to see that they are basically identical. And if you join up a game, it is exactly the same principle, the same maps, the same gameplay loop, even the overall look and feel is just the same. So from a player's perspective, it doesn't feel like a brand new game. It feels like OpenFront with a new name. And that's where the debate shifts away from just a license and more into ethics, because legally open source allows forks. But ethically, should someone be rebranding a project and calling it their own without giving proper credit to the people who built it? So why does this whole situation even matter? Well, it comes down to the way OpenFront was built. OpenFront's code is available under what's called an open source license, in this case GPL or AGPL. That kind of license basically says anyone can take the code, use it, and even make their own version of the game. That's what open source is all about, collaborating and sharing. But there's a catch. You have to follow the rules of the license, which usually means giving credit to the original project and making sure any changes you publish also stay open source. That's where the confusion comes in with FrontWars. Did they follow the license correctly? Did they credit the original project and contributors, or did they just copy paste OpenFront, change the name, and act like it was their own? Without clear answers, the whole thing feels messy. Now let's pause here and explain one term you'll hear a lot in this conversation: forking. In the open source world, forking basically means you take the source code of a project and branch off to make your own version. It's totally allowed. In fact, it's one of the strengths of open source. Sometimes forks become more popular than the original. Sometimes they fail, but it's a normal part of software development. And this isn't the first time gaming has faced this issue. Think about the endless clones of Flappy Bird that flooded the App Store. Thousands of near identical games that were technically legal but often felt like cash grabs. Or even look at Minecraft after it blew up, you had a flood of copycats trying to ride the wave. Even big companies do it. PUBG popularized Battle Royale, and then Fortnite came in with its own spin, quickly taking over the market. But that's just inspiration. Difference is, in those cases, the clones usually had some kind of a twist, whether it was an art style, it was gameplay mechanics, or a unique hook. With OpenFront and FrontWars, the games are almost indistinguishable, and that's why people are so divided. Legally, a fork might be allowed, but ethically, does it feel right to just rebrand the same game and try to build an audience from it? So with all this going on, the OpenFront community has had a lot to say, and honestly, it's pretty divided. On one side, you've got people who feel betrayed. They see FrontWars as a shameless copy, and they're worried it could pull players and attention away from OpenFront, leaving the original game and its contributors in the dust. For these players, it's not just about licenses or technical rules, it's about respect, and they believe Evan and the community built something meaningful, and seeing it repackaged under a new name feels wrong. But on the other side, you've got a very different perspective. Some contributors, even to OpenFront, people who actually helped build the game, have pointed out that Evan himself forked Warfront. And from their view, that means he doesn't really have the moral high ground to complain when the same thing happens to him. And then, there's people in the middle, a little bit like me, players who don't really care about the drama. They just want the best version of the game to survive. If FrontWars ends up getting updated more, runs better, or brings in new features, some of them are willing to switch over, and you cannot confront them about that. Others are saying they'll stick with OpenFront out of loyalty because the community, there is what makes the game special, which is a completely fair point. And the debate really boils down to this, who do players trust more, the long-standing OpenFront community or the new project that looks almost identical but is being promoted and might have something fresh. And until there is clarity on what's legal or allowed under licenses, which actually isn't any of our business, it's likely the community will stay split. The updates on both games within the next weeks might actually end up being extremely crucial to where the community stands. And all of this brings us to a bigger question: what happens when open source games actually get popular? On the positive side, open source can be amazing. It lets anyone collaborate, contribute, and improve a project. That's how OpenFront grew in the first place. People jumped in, added features, fixed bugs, and shared with their friends. It's the reason the game even exists today, or one of the main reasons at least. Open source can spark creativity, innovation in ways a closed project never could. But there's of course also a dark side. When something open source takes off, anyone can take that code, rebrand it, push it out as their own version. And if that new version is backed by money, promotion, or just better marketing, it can suddenly overshadow the original. That creates this awkward tension where the spirit of open source, freedom and sharing clashes with human nature, the desire for credit, ownership, and recognition. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Evan feels like his work is being taken away from him, but at the same time, the open source license he chose allows forks like FrontWars to exist. So if forks are allowed, is the real issue legal or is it ethical? There's also the question of motivation. You know, if the indie devs see their work get forked, rebranded, and maybe even monetized by someone else, what's to stop them from giving up? Why would they keep updating their project if someone else can swoop in and claim the spotlight? That's the fear a lot of players have right now. If Evan walks away, does that mean OpenFront itself could slowly fade out? And that's why people are asking, is it the end of OpenFront? Is it the beginning of FrontWars, or vice versa? Or just, you know, another chapter in the messy story of open source gaming? So if you were to ask me my personal take on all of this, and maybe this is what some of you might be questioning, to me, OpenFront is still the original. It's the game that built the community, the tournaments, the strategies, the funny moments, everything we've seen so far. FrontWars might exist, but at the end of the day, it feels more like a rebrand than something new. The heart of this game, the culture around it, is here in OpenFront. And I'm just, you know, happy to see where both of these games are going to go and which directions they're going to take in the next couple of months. As we stand, they're literally clones of each other, so I might as well continue playing OpenFront. And honestly, you know, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this in gaming, and it definitely won't be the last. Big or small, games get cloned all the time. Sometimes the clones, you know, might vanish in a couple days. Sometimes they take over, and sometimes the original survives because the community refuses to let it die, just like some of us are doing right now. And I think that's the key here. OpenFront's future doesn't just depend on licenses or argument. It also depends on whether the players choose to keep supporting it. But that's just my perspective. You know, what do you think? Is it straight up theft or just business as usual in the open source world? Let me know down in the comments. I'll be reading them, and of course curious to read where you stand and argue about it. And of course I'll try to keep following the story. If you do want updates on what's going to happen next, do go onto the various discords. You'll probably get the most information. Also check out the Reddits. And because as much as people are asking if this is the end of OpenFront, I don't think the game is dead yet, not unless the community lets it die. I mean, there's clearly many players still supporting it, and there's more players in OpenFront than on FrontWars as we speak. And with that being said, let's get back to where we left off in this match, where it's just been roaming around in the background. I've still got a few minutes left, I think, in this game, and let's see if we can pull a win, because it does seem like a very interesting game. But yeah, so we're into this Falklands map, and it seems like we got YSH on the right, Anonymous here, and Bob myself right up top there. So there's three of us that could contest the win. YSH has betrayed, so I'm a bit scared of him. We are going to lose the alliance with him as well in a bit. There's some hydros hitting down south here on Anonymous. He does seem like he's got the lead, and he has the gold over me, unfortunately. Little Jap guy kind of betrays me now, which I think he's trying to give me away. He's probably going to leave, so he's giving me away his territory. That's pretty cool. He does have a bit of gold as well. I don't know if I'm going to get there, though, with all the warships. I might retake the alliance, actually. All right, and we're going to lose the alliance soon with Anonymous. It's not going to look good. We need YSH to go and Merv. He should get enough before me. He's around 30 mil right now. I don't have enough gold, unfortunately. I'm not going to get there, because if Anonymous and I lose the alliance, Anonymous is going to attack me, and YSH... Okay, we lose the alliance now, as I'm saying it. We need YSH right now to go and Merv. I mean, as soon as they get it, or else we are done. Yeah, and there goes Anonymous. Unfortunately, we are getting screwed over. There's not much I can do about it. I can hydro him a little bit, slow him down here and there. That's all about I can do. Unfortunately, it does seem... Wait, I think... Yeah, YSH has sent out a Merv, so we do have a chance of survival here. We are going to lose out quite a bit, though. All right, the Merv lands, which isn't... I mean, it's great. It's a little bit late on us, unfortunately. But they do not have any troops anymore, so that's not too bad. And we are going to slowly try and take back, I guess, Anonymous. It was good because we were kind of like everywhere here on those little ledges, so we can boat around. YSH is looking very, very strong, guys. No. And we can check out the gold a little bit to see where people are standing. There are people stacking up, to be fair. We do have a random dude just trade here with almost 30 mil, so he could potentially Merv. Why not? And we are going to take back most of Anonymous, which is good. The problem is YSH, because the problem is now he's the big boy. We're just there. We're the underdog. And you know what? I'm going to start, if I can get the alliance, to be fair, with Anonymous now. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to leave YSH to take all this territory. Maybe some of you guys are going to say it's a mistake. We need Anonymous to get to 35 mil, or one of us at least. And that's the problem. Like, I need Anonymous to be as alive as possible right now. Should I have taken that territory? I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it's good that he stays alive. If I get the Merv or anybody else, then we're good. We got these random players as well. Anno here with loads of gold. Hello, hello. Merv anybody anytime if you want. All right, there's a Merv that was said by Anno bottom right. He betrayed YSH. So that's good because he got destroyed. YSH is gonna get destroyed. I think I'm gonna take a bit of new territory, but do I just go and betray YSH? Because I have so many more troops than him, right? Is it the moment? Is it? I think it's the moment to betray. It is gonna be painful. Technically, we got Zulu as well on our left-hand side who could destroy us. But if I take this bottom left side, I think that is super strong. And I just basically, it doesn't give me the dub at all yet, but it's gonna give me a good advantage. All right, and we basically take most of it. He could counter me technically now. He's got loads of troops, but I think he's getting nuked a little bit. He's getting attacked as well by everybody at the same time. So I think that's the positive thing. Zuglu's doing a good job. I've almost caught up on him actually, if you look at the leaderboard. So I'm pretty happy about that. So far, so good. All right, and he's left actually. Okay, he's left. Very interesting. That's good news for us. We're in a very strong position actually now. That things have completely flipped around. Jap here with so much gold, but not being active could be dangerous. I'm going to stop trading bottom right with Anno and Morris so they get less, I guess, less resources. I don't want to be taking any risks, and I'm just going to try and cross. Might be hard. I might have to go through this little silo up top. Crazy how that blue guy went from basically winning position to losing. He even left the game, I think. He has a fair bit of gold, though, so I might as well try and take it. All right, and we've managed to pass across right there, so we are going to continue attacking this YSH guy. We are looking kind of strong, guys, because now the trades aren't coming in too much anymore with everyone because there's less players. I've cut my trades as well with a couple, so that is definitely the good news. I just need to secure those small players 100%. It could be very dangerous that someone else gets it. All right, almost 50% of the map already, and I just don't see how I lose it anymore, which is crazy. I mean, I can get Merved. I can get Merved a couple times, but I do have also a lot of gold. All right, we wrapped up YSH. Now I think the strategy is going to be just to spam a million warships here. We need to get Japan. There's way too much gold in there, and if I get that gold, it's just a win. There we go. All the warships get destroyed. This last guy is standing right there. We take up the 3 little islands that are left. A bunch of ports as well. Why not? And we should get the 50, whatever amount of million golds we're going to get. All right, and therefore now we have enough. I think we just go and attack Anno here, and then we can Merv Morish and Merv Zuglu. Unfortunately for Zuglu, been a great ally all game. We put the claps up. We are going to Merv Zuglu from the top. It is going to get us a betrayal thing. They're probably going to attack us for a little bit, full send us, but it should give us a dub as they both get Merved. As the Merv lands, we just got to counter both those territories, and that is going to be a win. But yeah, guys, actually really enjoyed this video. Very different to what I'm used to. I actually got an insane win right as I was just recording it at the same time, which is insane. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, check out the description, join up the Discord. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share my video, and share my channel around. And I'll see you guys next time.